A sad story of an attendant who made a very wrong judgment. It was a brisk autumn morning at Crestview International Airport, the kind where designer luggage rolled across the marble floors, and espresso steam rose gently in the air. Terminal C buzzed with wealthy travelers, executive assistants on phones, and airport staff in polished uniforms. Among the crowd stood David Moyo, a tall black man in a custom navy suit with subtle pinstripes, leather Oxfords gleaming beneath him. His demeanor was calm, commanding even, but understated. He carried no entourage, no fanfare. Just a sleek briefcase and a boarding pass marked First Class, Flight 302 to Zurich. David was the CEO of Moyo Tech, one of Africa's fastest-growing clean energy companies, with contracts across Europe and Asia. But here, in this polished airport, no one knew his name. As he approached the first-class counter, a young white attendant named Chad looked up from behind the desk. His smile faded the moment he locked eyes with David. Chad leaned forward. "Sir, this line is for first-class ticket holders only." David paused, then calmly offered his boarding pass. "I'm in 1A." Chad barely looked at it. "Sure, but we've had people trying to sneak in before, so I'm going to need to confirm your credentials. Can you step aside while I assist actual first-class passengers?" Behind David, a well-dressed couple walked up, white, in tailored coats with Louis Vuitton bags. Chad's demeanor changed instantly. "Welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Stanton. Right this way." David stepped aside quietly. He didn't raise his voice, didn't insist, but he noticed other attendants glance awkwardly at the interaction. One of them, a young black woman named Amara, looked especially uncomfortable. After a full 10 minutes, David was still waiting. Chad continued to serve others who had just arrived. Eventually, Amara approached David and whispered, "Sir, you're cleared for boarding. I'll take you in personally. I'm sorry for the delay." David nodded politely. "Thank you." He walked past Chad without a word, but he'd taken note. 30,000 feet in the sky, David sat in 1A, sipping water and reviewing a file on his tablet. Meanwhile, Chad stood just outside the first-class cabin, assisting with in-flight service, unaware that fate had a cruel twist planned, because this wasn't just any flight. On board were representatives from a European investment consortium meeting with Moyo Tech's CEO in Zurich. One of them, a Swiss banker named Elena Roth, passed by David's seat and smiled warmly. "Mr. Moyo, I didn't expect we'd be on the same flight." Chad froze in place. David stood and shook her hand. "Neither did I." "Always a pleasure, Elena." She glanced at Chad. "Have you met our host yet? This is David Moyo, the man with the $200 million deal on the table." Chad's face turned pale. He tried to mutter something, but David simply smiled. "No need," David said. "We've already met." Back on the ground in Zurich, the story spread through the airline staff network. Amara quietly submitted a report to her supervisor. Other witnesses came forward. Chad was asked to meet with HR, but David didn't push for punishment. He didn't need to. His presence, his poise had done the teaching. He simply sent a letter to the airline's CEO. "This is not about one employee. It's about the assumptions embedded into the spaces we all move through. I was judged by appearance, not ability, by race, not rank. You have a chance to fix that." The airline responded publicly with a promise to implement anti-bias training across all international terminals. Months later, back at Crestview Airport, Amara saw a familiar face in the headlines. David Moyo had been named one of Time magazine's most influential global leaders. And Chad? He now worked in baggage services, humbled, quieter. He remembered the man he'd dismissed, not for being rude or disruptive, but simply for not looking like he belonged. And that was the lesson. David Moyo never needed revenge. His life was proof that excellence rises above prejudice. But every so often, someone would ask him, "Do you remember that day at the airport?" He would smile faintly. "Yes, and I hope they remember it too."